Tom, well, a rain-affected day in the end. Play had to come to a premature close. But first of all, to highlight a great performance from yourself. Didn't quite get to that century mark, but are you pleased with how you performed out there with the bat?
Yeah, definitely. You're always gutted a little bit when you miss a milestone, but ultimately, I think putting that to one side, I think we're in a great position in this game, and that's just the main focus really. I think getting 350 on that wicket, was a good effort for us, especially getting put into bat on day one, and I think the weather we can't do anything about, but where we are at the game at the moment, we take where we are obviously at the moment, and then coming into tomorrow, hopefully take some early wickets and make it hard work for their middle order.
You've been averaging about 39, I think, in the County Championship this season, and that's at the top of the table in terms of wicket keepers, I believe. So, in terms of a mid-order batsman, have you felt like the need to provide some stability in the middle of the order to help hold up the innings?
Yeah, I think probably making the move up to 6. It's something I've really enjoyed, making that, getting that opportunity and making the most of that really. I think sometimes when you bat, 7 or with the tail, it's a bit not in your hands how fast things can happen. We see that it can happen quite quickly. So, and we see guys, batting with the tail is a different sort of skill set. You have to pick and choose when you're going to attack and sort of sometimes farm the strike a little bit. So. To be able to just go out there and try and get into some sort of rhythm and stay in my zone has seemed to work, and something I've really enjoyed doing. So hopefully at the moment I'm just trying to play it as I see it, and naturally quite attacking player, so try and roll with that, and thankfully the last couple of games it's gone well.
Is that what you would credit largely that form to? Is that move up into 6?
Yeah, I mean I felt pretty good all year, to be fair. I sort of, the start of the year felt really good and just kept getting starts and 30s and 40s and never really could kick on, and which was frustrating. And then I think the last game, getting past that and kicking on and getting the score there, sort of with that move up to 6, allowed that I didn't have to change anything in my tempo the way I was batting, and I could just try and stay in one mode, if you like, that was working to get to where I got to. So I definitely feel that not having to change as much in how I go about batting is a nice place to be as a batsman, because if you find something that batting, we always talk about, it's about tempo and rhythm and feeling good, and to try and get into that zone as quickly as you can is the goal really as a batsman. So to be able to find that in the last couple of games has been great, and try and hold on to it for as long as I can.
A word on the match itself at the halfway stage. Like I said, we didn't get as much play today as we would have liked. Does it feel very much finally in the balance after day 2?
Yeah, I think like we said, we'd be pretty happy with where we're at. I think they started off, they played well, to be fair. I think coming out, but getting 2 wickets before the rain was handy, and I think they're still 250 odd behind or something like that. So it's a lot of runs on this wicket, and it's especially we've seen how fast it can happen at Trent Bridge. A good spell from someone, a good session, a 5-wicket session isn't out of the question, 6-wicket session isn't out of the question. So I definitely feel like tomorrow morning will be huge if we come and bowl anything like. We could put some real pressure on them, and hopefully bowl them out with a fairly big amount of runs to get. So.
Another wicket for Brett Hutton. He's having a fantastic season. How great does it feel to be having a man in that kind of form leading the bowling attack?
Yeah, to have someone like Brett, I think it's 45 or 46 wickets or something like that he's got, which is incredible numbers and right up there amongst the best. So I think to have someone like that in our armour, in our attack is huge. And I think credit to Brett, he keeps coming back time and game after game, and in what's difficult season to do that, especially for a bowler, he keeps coming back and producing. So I think we're all trying to get behind him and keep pushing him on and get try and get past that 50 wicket mark and then kick on again. I think he can he could definitely have a real stellar year this year, and he already has. So to have someone in his, like him in the attack, and we've got Fletchy back in as well with his experience, and all round I think the way Lyndon, with some of the injuries we've had, has stepped up into that senior bowling role and how well he's done. It's a real threatening attack at the moment. So I think if those guys bowl anything like their best tomorrow, it'll be a real challenge for Kent, I think.
Talking of players stepping up, obviously today we've announced Calvin Harrison has extended his stay by 3 years. In the words of some, a player who's very much gone under the radar with some of his performances, and we could especially talk about Surrey, how he really limited Surrey's scoring rate as well down there. Really quite the player to have in your armoury.
Yeah, I mean Cal's done exceptionally well for a young leg spinner to have the amount of control that he's got. Is really exciting, not only for the club but for himself, and his ceiling, I think, and the way he does it with the bat as well. His ceiling's super high. So I think for Calv it's just holding on to that for as long as he can, and he's a very keen learner, which is great. But to naturally bowl at a pace like he does and hold the stumps into play and be able to that, like you touched on, that oval game where it wasn't that conducive to spin, and he managed to keep a batting lineup like that at bay really and hold up an end. It's just so it's so powerful for any team, because it allows your seamers to rotate at one end, and it's such a hard skill to find. So I think for someone like him in the club, it's great to see him extend for another 3 years, and I think he could definitely go on and do a lot, and his ceiling's very high.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, thank you.